And good morning. Welcome to a Tadpoll for Thursday morning. We're going to be talking about several different things. Suicide prevention this morning. We'll have some guests on that. Also, the extension, talking about the things they're always busy doing things over there and having classes. A soybean class. The soybeans have to go to a class? And then we'll ask Cody about that. How do you grade a soybean in a class?
We'll discuss that here, Tad.
Okay.
So,
All right. Anna Schremer also, we're going to talk about things with her also. But before that, we're going to kind of divert ourselves and talk about sports just a little bit this morning. Congratulations to the area teams that won last night. Of course, the Phillipsburg Panthers are going to go into the semis tomorrow night against Cheney. Northern Valley, the boys won last night. Hill City Girls won last night out of the Mid-Continent League, so they're doing well. Let's see if I get it. Plainville plays today. Stockton plays today. TMP Girls play today. Thunder Ridge Girls play today. Is that? I think that's probably pretty much. Excuse me.
Plainville, yes.
Yeah. So there's everyone's still in there out of the Mid-Continent League. TMP Marion got beat. Well, they got beat by another Mid-Continent League team last night. Someone said how that happened. Well, that's just the luck of the draw and I think if Phillipsburg would have played Hoxie, the boys and girls, I think if Phillipsburg would have played Hoxie, could have played that game and they would have won it. That would have given them one more win, and I think that would have put them the number one seed. But it didn't happen. So here's what we're going to try to do. It's a Saturday morning. If everything works out, depends on if Phillipsburg wins tomorrow night, they will play at 6:15 Saturday evening. Which I've talked with Keith Side about this, and he would have his players available Saturday morning to do a sports talk, not here, but in Hutchinson, and then they'd have all afternoon to prepare. If they would lose, perish the thought, tomorrow night, they would play then at 2:15, I think, 2 or 2:15, and that might make it a little tough. So it kind of depends on how the Panthers come out tomorrow night, what we do on a Saturday morning with sports talk. But we are planning either, if we can, to do sports talk. I don't know whether it'll be at 9 or maybe at 10, because I'll have to leave here about 5 in the morning to make it down there. And highway patrolman out there, I'll be all right. So we'll see the time. We'll let you know on that. But we'd like to do it at 9 and be consistent. But if Keith wants to let the boys sleep a little, whatever. But we'll work something out. Hopefully we can do that Saturday morning. And then I'm working on a week from Saturday. I've talked to several of the players who are on the last team to go from Phillipsburg back in the 70s. I've talked to we're going to try to get some of those players to come on Sports Talk a week from Saturday and see what that was like. So that'd be kind of a neat deal there. And then of course, we'll have Keith on. So, okay, let's talk about things currently going on. Anna, you go first. Ladies first.
Okay, sounds good.
I wanted you to come on to talk about the main thing you want to talk about here. What's
It's a story walk.
Story walk. That's right. I can't remember the story walk. And then I want to talk about the CRISPRs and the
pressure cookers.
And
all of the good
all things and how that works. Okay, let's go first with the story walk.
Okay, story walk actually came about by an extension agent in Vermont. And her name is Ann Ferguson, and we have to kind of give her credit for all of this because she came up with this idea of, the kids need to read, family time, exercise, and she kind of put it all together with doing a story walk. She took some storybooks for kids and put them on posters and then put them around, put them far enough apart that you would have a nice little walk by the time you got done. And she just didn't want the kids doing this, so she advertised and really promoted having the parents or grandparents and the kids or the whole family going together, reading the book, talking about the book, and then also walking a path. And so they'd get exercise, family time, and also learn something and read on the way.
Oh, wow.
So it's a really neat concept.
It really is. It is. So So, what's happening here in Phillipsburg about that?
So I wrote a grant for it, and I received the grant from the Esther and Carl Merkline Foundation, and so that I could purchase books and the supplies to make the story walk. And I talked to the libraries. I've also talked with it's the Encore Group. Harlan Nonhoff is the chairman of it, and I think they're going to help me make these. And hopefully in May we will have the first walking storybook, and it will be, I've talked with the commissioners, and they're going to allow me to have them around this courthouse square, so you'll be able to take your family and read. I'm on, we have different, what we call PFTs, that we do in extension, and I'm on the finance one. And the finance one, so I'm going to get some finance books for kids, such as Funny Money, or Bunny Money, I guess is what it's
Funny
called.
Money, yeah, okay.
It could be Funny Money. And the Berenstain Bears, they have several,
Oh, yeah.
learn about money, or they go spend something. And I also have some with nutrition, and then some with, the Berenstain Bears and the new baby, so they have learning things too that the family can discuss. And some of them, I'm going to try to get all of them where we can put, the parents can pick up questions that they can go through and ask the kids as they go. And then at the end, we'll have a URL code, and we'd really like to have you hook onto that, and then answer some of those questions so we get feedback on how you feel that these books are, and the story walk, and then that way we'll know if we need to do more of them or if we need to.
Will there be several different books then you'll be doing? What chapters each stop, or how's it? Okay, how does it work?
Okay.
Obviously, you walk around and have visiting, but how do you set up chapter each thing, or how do you do that?
Well, these really aren't chapter books. They're
Okay.
small books, so that you can complete it within one walking.
Okay.
I still like reading the Berenstain Bears, and so
Yeah,
I think
sure.
most do, even though the high school kids may not admit it, but they
Yeah,
probably wouldn't mind
sure.
reading too. But so we'll have one book, and it will go around the courthouse square. And one of the things I did forget to mention, this is for Phillips County. We will have one book in Logan,
Okay,
one in
all right,
Prairie
okay,
View,
okay.
and they've also asked about Long Island, and we're hoping to get one in Kerwin and also in Agra. And we will rotate them, and we'll have, right now I have 20, hopefully 25 books. Kind of depends on the amount of money that we have left
Sure.
after we get things laminated and
Is
bought.
this a one-day deal or a week, or how does it work?
I'll put them up on like Monday morning, and they'll be left up for 2 weeks. Then we'll rotate to a new book for
Okay,
another
good.
2
I just
weeks.
thought it was a one-day deal, and you really have to hurry
Oh.
around to do it. Okay.
No, not with our lifestyles that we have today. We never get it done. But no, it's hopefully in 2 week periods, and then also hopefully we'll have enough books and new books that we can rotate them and have it. My goal is to have it go from the first part of May through September. So there may be a few times in there we'll have to take them down, such as I'm sure for Riverless Festival here, and the Hanson Art and Craft Fair in August over there. There's, it'd be nice to have them up, but at the same time, there's vendors and everything.
Sure.
It'd be difficult to have them available.
Okay, that clears it up, because I thought it was just a one-day deal, or maybe a week deal or something. So where will the books be? Will they be outside? I mean, you have to worry about rain. Rain. Let's get some rain.
Yes,
Get
well, right
rain.
now,
Let's have some
no.
rain.
Wind more
Wind.
so than anything. But no, we take the books apart and we put them on a poster board, and then we laminate those poster boards, and then they go on, we Velcro them to a plastic corrugated board, sort of like the political signs that you see out, and
Sure.
put them on an H frame.
Okay,
And
all
so we can put one from here to, 15 feet away, and so they have to walk, and we'll have arrows to point, and one,
Good. Okay.
and so on.
It's around the square. It's not
He'll be, up and down the sidewalks, walk
Okay,
around,
good.
and
Wow.
so, and some of them eventually I'd kind of like to get them at different places in Phillipsburg, so you can know that to look for it, and I'll have it in the paper, and we may come on and say, well,
Sure,
the storybook's
okay,
going to be
okay.
at the park this
Wow.
time, or follow your frisbee, go play frisbee golf and read the storybook to your child. Museum, they have also offered to let me put them there, so I'd kind of like to rotate them so you can also see different
Wow,
places
that's good.
and such.
And I can see the bit why you had to get a grant for that, because I mean that's great.
Yes, yes. And hopefully it will be successful enough that I can write another grant in a couple of years and say, we need 20 more books.
Would you? So you're gonna have about 20, you say, or 25?
Right, I have about 20 books.
That's great.
We have to buy 2 books at a time because you use a front and back, so in order to get them on, you have to
Oh, yeah,
use
sure.
2 different books to do that
And you don't
with.
have to worry about turning pages. You just do this. That's a great idea. And I'm a great proponent of reading to your kids and doing books with your kids. I really think that's one of the most important things you can do when the kids are growing up, is read to them.
Right, start when they're babies and you think
Yeah,
they
right.
don't, they love, my grandkids love books and we have to read 3 books before they go to bed, and then the next thing is, can we have another one? And it's, well, no, we'll be reading all night.
Sure, yeah,
But,
well,
and that's
yeah.
great. They're
I
just,
think I read Tom Sawyer to my boys 37 times. I mean, I knew it, and they know it. It's funny. I used to purposely would change something, and they pick it up right away. Said, "Dad, that's not the way it goes. It's this. It goes this way." I said, I used to do it just again, you know.
Yeah, we've got the Cooper and Casey. We read the Little Blue Truck, and we
Yeah.
pretty well have it memorized. Still, we don't even have to look at the pages anymore. So
Rory, Snip, Snap, and Snurr. Do you remember Snip, Snap, and
oh,
Snurr?
yes.
You know, I don't even know if they have those anymore or
I
not.
don't
But
know.
the library had a whole series of Snip, Snap, and Snurrs. And that goes back
yeah.
60, 70 years, you know, back in. And of course, the Hardy. And I read every book Nancy Drew. I love Nancy Drew books. You know, I had every one. In fact, I've got a lot of read the first editions of those, I think. Check to see what they're worth there. You know, Nancy Drew and the Secret of Larkspur Lane. And so, anyway, how I got off it. So that's a great idea. And so these are books that are what age group are you talking about?
Preschool to elementary, and like you said, you know, I love the Berenstain books, and I often will go, you know, when I'm looking through cleaning things, I'll run across them, and I find myself sitting there rereading them.
Yeah.
So, you know, and of course, there's just not all Berenstain books we have. Llama Llama right now is really popular.
Really?
Pete the Cat is popular. And, you know, so there's Curious George and a few of those books that I have too. But I think everybody likes them. But the age group anywhere, you know, we want the whole family to enjoy that. And even the high school kids can come and read and, you know, and do that with their brothers and sisters or with their cousins or parents.
And that's neat with if you ask questions. So it's a learning. That's really good. So,
Right.
well, I'm glad you got the grant, and there's a little work around going on this, isn't it, to figure out how to do all that.
Yes.
And how many stations you plan on having?
Yes, it has. Yes, I have the benefit of some other counties that have already done it that
okay.
have sent me information,
Okay.
and that helps too. And we kind of all, if I have questions, I can call them, and then if they have questions on things, they can call me, and so it really helps when you can work together, and that's one neat thing about the extension agents throughout the state of Kansas. We work together and call and give each other information, and so, and this is, to me, this project is one of the best that Kansas has adopted from another state.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it part of the? Is it outside the extension, or is that part of the extension program? I mean, is this
It's part of a program
Okay.
that they have. Like Vermont had adopted it, and then they promoted it, and they allow, as long as we use Ann Ferguson's name on there, we can go ahead and
Okay, well, great.
use it. And so it's an excellent. It's things we can share. I mean, why keep something great just to yourself? And
You plan then starting in May? You say sometime on that?
yes, if we can get them all done, anyway, get 5 of them done or 6 of them, so we can get them to every town, and then keep working on them. I'm hoping they won't take as long as I'm also imagining,
That's
but no,
great.
I planning on having some good help. I'd like to get a few 4-Hers to coming in to help
That's a
also
good
make them. And
Do you have to register? Were you registered at the beginning or anything? Or can you just come and do it?
just come and do it.
Okay, and it'll be out there all the time. They'll be out there all the time. And,
All through the summer is what I'm planning.
that's great. And then you have to move them around different.
Yeah, the only thing we have to move around is we'll leave the H frames and
Sure,
the
but the
plastic boards to take off the
Yeah,
book.
well, that's good.
And so,
Wow. It's pretty well organized. It looks like if you figure it out.
yeah,
Okay.
and hope the wind and the storms don't take them anywhere. And any good citizen that sees something that maybe is
Sure.
out of place, and either let me know, or they can put them back on, or something.
Would that
So-
win something?
Oh my! It just reminded me of a year ago with the fire at
Sure.
Stockton.
Oh, well, yeah. And of course, Ellis County had that one down in the northeastern part of that Catherine area there, you know. How do the fires start? Someone said cigarettes, maybe. And who threw a little cigarette out of a car? Anyway, and then even, I guess, a muffler from, can a truck start, can it really,
Yeah,
they
that,
always
and
told me not to drive into a stubble field
Right.
because of that. Can it really?
Right. Oh yeah, that certainly could, and then I know power lines get to slapping together.
Okay.
So, you know, it's just
That's what started the Stockton one
It
last year.
was power. Wow. And of course, it's out, and then they're having all this stuff in the East Coast. They get moisture there. I wish we could get some of that
right.
moisture. Dodge City's been on 180 days or since they've had
Yeah, there's
moisture.
longest dry spell
It is.
for quite some time here. So I know Mary Knapp with our National Weather Service, we receive information on that, and you know, it's pretty scary.
Oh,
the state where we're at right now. So
you know,
hopefully,
there's climate change. I don't care what you say. They'll probably get shot for saying that, you know. But there's a change going on. Okay. Anything else on? I think that's a great idea. The story walk, good name for it, and we'll be having you on there and always get closer to that, and you can bring one on, show it how it works and all that.
Okay,
all
do
right.
that.
Now, okay. So we covered that pretty good.
We
Okay,
covered,
all right.
we covered all of that.
I want to talk. I like to talk about food and food preparation. I'm not a very good. Thank God for the microwave. When they invented that, they had me in mind because I mean it's used at my house. But they have these the pressure cookers, and I was kind of confused. I thought the pressure cooker was the same as you could. What is the thing you put the French fries in? It's a
the air fryer.
air fryer.
New
Air
wave.
fryer. Those are two different things.
Right.
Pressure cooker. Let's talk about the. And you've been
Yes.
giving classes on that too.
Yes, I have been giving, through January, I had 5 classes that I gave
Wow.
on the electric pressure cooker. And one of the things I want to mention, and part of it's a pet peeve of mine, but a lot of people refer to them as Instant Pots. Instant Pots is a brand name of an electric pressure cooker. So, if you use Instant Pots, it's an electric pressure cooker is what you're using. So, there's a lot of different brands, and we don't promote one brand over
Sure,
another. And in fact, a lot of them are very good. But they are electric pressure cookers, and they all work about the same. They all have different little buttons, but they're pretty much the same.
How do you tighten them down, or how do you do it? I'm not, because I grew up with the pressure cookers where you tighten them down and they blow up. You know?
Yeah, yes.
And can these electric pressure cookers give you a problem if you don't do it right?
Oh, they could, but one of the things that electric pressure cookers have built in is 10 safety mechanisms,
Okay.
whereas the stovetop ones do not have
Yeah.
those. So if something isn't on right, it's not going to pressure up.
Yeah.
And if something is not doing something right, it's going to quit.
Okay.
So they have 10 separate mechanisms that safety mechanisms.
Well,
So
yeah.
they're a lot safer than what the stovetop ones.
Well, yeah,
are.
because you really didn't know. The only thing you had on that, the control was is what your burner was.
Right.
And with this way, it's all integrated in there and everything.
Right.
Okay. And does it make the food taste better, or fix easier, or quicker? What's the advantage
All
of
of the
it?
above.
Okay. All right.
Yes, the electric pressure cooker, it cooks very quickly. It has really good flavor. Cody always says that he thinks it infuses the pressure infuses the flavor
Puts the
even in
pre-
the
yeah,
meat.
okay.
And there's something to that. I really
Yeah.
believe it does. They've done an experiment where they've taken pears and they put them in red wine or red food coloring, and the crock pot that cooks all day long, maybe a quarter to a half an inch, the color seeps in. And in a pressure cooker, it goes almost all the way into the seeds. So it does, Cody's philosophy is correct. It does infuse that flavor
To
inside.
get that little taste.
But and so, you have your good flavor. It makes it very tender. It cooks in a very short period of time. It cooks with less electricity. You can also use cheaper cuts of meat, so it can save you money. And
Okay.
it's a very healthy method of cooking. Most of the time, your food is not in water; it's cooking with steam, and so it's a healthy method of cooking, and it saves you money. It saves you time. It saves you energy.
Are they different sizes? I don't. And you can get
Yes.
family to want a bigger one. Like, would they have one for just one guy?
Yes,
They
yes,
do?
they do. I have one. You want to figure 1 quart per person.
Okay.
And I have a 2-quart one, which I use a lot for me. They have 3-quart, 4-quart. I haven't really seen a 5-quart, but I think they have them
Wow.
out there. But the most common one is a 6-quart, because most families are 4 to
Sure,
5
yeah.
members. So they have 6 quarts and then 8 quarts. And then there's even a 10-quart one, and then it goes up to like pressure canners, which you can
Well, I was
also
wondering,
cook in
that
the
was my
pressure
next question.
canners.
Could you have canners, electric canners, that you can can in?
It needs to be electric cooker or electric canner. The cookers you cannot can in.
Okay, but but the electric canners, what they call it.
Right.
Okay.
Well, they don't have electric
they
canners. They
don't?
just have stovetop canners.
Okay.
So at this point, I really thoroughly expect in the next 5
Well,
years
that'd be
they
a
will
safe thing,
have
too,
an
because,
electric one.
You
But
know, and I remember.
the thing that they haven't been able to do yet with the canners is prove that they can hold that pressure to kill the bacteria for that amount of time that needs to be done. Such as if you're going to can meat, it needs to be held under pressure for 90 minutes at a certain pressure level. And they haven't been able to prove that can be done in an electric one yet, or get it where it can be.
Best thing, home canned peaches were the best thing in the world, and back they used to have the families would get together and can for 2 weeks. Maybe today it was peaches and tomorrow it was plums and then it was this and that, and it was a big deal. You could buy bushels and bushels of peaches, and you do that. I used to visit my grandparents, and they were in the basement for about 2 weeks every day. They'd be down there canning, and I was the way they've had to tighten them down and all that. Anyway, so that's what the pressure cooker's electric. Now, what's the air fryer? What is this? What's the air fryer?
Cody might be able to answer that better than
Okay,
I.
do you
He's
have an
got
air
one,
fryer?
and I
We've
don't.
got one,
Okay.
but I have not used it near as much, Tad, to be honest with you. To me, it's very similar to the microwave. You just put it in a pan there and then slide it in to the machine, and you have some settings. I haven't figured it out quite yet, but Rachel is much
Does
better
it work though?
at it.
Does it work
So,
though?
yeah, it does. And we've just things that I've cooked in it for the boys quick. Chicken strips, onion rings, French fries.
That was my question. Does it? They come out crisp out of that?
They're supposed to, but like I say, I haven't perfected that
Okay.
yet. So I'm much more comfortable with the electric pressure cooker
Okay.
as well.
Do you have one
So
of those? You
I
have
do.
one?
I do.
Wow, Jiminy.
I got one a year ago for Christmas, and kept asking Anna questions on these. So it's neat because my brother-in-law, we both got one at the same time for Christmas, and we utilize ours quite a bit. So especially with basketball season,
Yeah.
if we had to have a quick meal, and you can throw stuff in there, and comes out delicious. So.
I think Rachel missed. Well, I'm not saying Mr. Collins because I know what she does. She's good. She's gone into broadcasting. I think she could have been a broadcaster. I'm serious. She does. She a good job.
She enjoys it.
Well, it's basketball season's over now. Everything's kind of calmed down a little bit.
Right. So now we'll get the baby on the ground, and then we'll be
May,
chaos. So
May.
Into May, May 29th, the due date there. So things are fixing to change around the Miller household. So.
Okay. Well, anything else that you want to talk about? You have
No.
classes? Anything?
I have, actually, I have 3 more pressure cooking classes. They're going to be demonstrations. I'm demonstrating for Norton County for one of their open houses. I have the library at Plainville has asked me to come there, and I'll be demonstrating an electric pressure cooker there. And then I have one over at Prairie View that I'll be doing sometime in April. So.
Do any guys ever come?
Oh, yes.
They do?
I get lots of guys in my classes. Tad, you need to take some of my classes.
I know I should do that. If I attend a class, would I learn everything I need to know about
well,
this?
you'd learn a lot. I don't know if you'd learn everything you need to know,
Okay.
but no, I
I
do
may
have
have-
a lot of guys. I have several dads and their daughters or their sons. I've had moms and daughters or moms and sons, and sometimes I have couples together. So I have a variety, and yes, anybody's welcome to any of my classes.
Okay,
And
all right.
as
Well,
long as you
I'll
can
have
get in
to-
and it's not full.
I'll have to make it to one of those.
Yes.
You don't have to have one. You just bring one in and show it, and you don't sell a particular brand.
No, I don't promote any particular brand. With the Instant Pot, there's a lot, and I think it was been promoted a lot throughout the United States. I would bet there's 10, 15, 20 different brands
Sure.
out there, and they all work good. They all work the same.
Yeah.
There's all different costs. I mean, they can go from, I've heard somebody bought theirs for $49 before
Really?
Christmas.
Okay.
I think it was a Christmas special, and somebody told me that they spent $100 and some bucks for theirs. So, and I think it can go all the way up to $200.
Wow. Okay.
But the thing with the electric pressure cooker, you don't really need all those function buttons
Sure.
because you can do pretty much what you need with a manual button and so on. But you're going to need to get a lot of extra buttons on there. There was something else I wanted to put, and it just it just slipped my mind when I was talking about buttons. But no,
If you think of it, interrupt
yes.
Cody. Okay.
Well, I just thought of it.
Okay.
There has been a recall. I've gotten several phone calls about the recall for an Instant Pot. And actually, the Instant Pot that's been recalled is called a multi-cooker, and it's not an electric pressure cooker.
Okay.
And so the electric pressure cookers, there has been one, and I think it's a Norvell that has been recalled on the pressure cooker part. But the Instant Pot one that's been recalled is actually a multi-cooker.
Okay.
And if you go to Walmart or a discount store that sells the Instant Pots, you'll see they're right there with the pressure cooker, and some people have picked up, they thought they were getting a pressure cooker, and then they get a multi-cooker. So, that's another little hint if you're going to go buy. Make sure you read on there what it is, and because a multi-cooker is not like an Instant Pot.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. soybean school.
Okay, yeah. So
Do they have to soybean sign up? To
no,
go to
no.
this?
It'll be
I'm
kind
sorry.
of like
That's
our.
a
Oh, that's
dumb.
okay.
That's a dumb
That's
joke.
okay.
Terrible.
That's all right. That's
Dumb.
definitely fine there. We got to have some humor in our lives here. So we were supposed to have this school back in January. So Wednesday, March 21st. I haven't looked at the extended forecast. It's probably dry, but if it's gonna blizzard or something, it'll be on that day
Sure.
because Cody's got this plan. But Doug Shoup is the Southeast Area agronomist, K-State Research and Extension. He's been working with me for years, wanting to get a area-wide soybean school put together for this area, and so we was able to get that on the calendar back in January. Then we had that snowy weather,
Sure.
so we had to cancel that. A couple years ago, we had to cancel a sorghum school that was a statewide program, so we're just kind of cursed in that regards. Wednesday, March 21st, from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We're going to be out at the Fair Building, and we have several different speakers that they're going to cover issues facing soybean producers, weed control, crop production, soil fertility, pest management, economics. One of the big things that is changing this year, there's different classes of herbicides that you can use on the extend crops. And these are basically they're dicamba tolerant crops. There's a training if you're going to purchase or if you're going to apply these one of the three classes of herbicides for these Ingenia, Fexapan, Extendamax. Those you have to attend a training for this. We've been using these dicamba products out in our area for many years. This new trait came out in eastern Kansas, Arkansas, etc., and they had all kinds of issues with drift concerns or drift onto non-tolerant crops.
Sure.
So definitely, so they put in place that you have to attend this training to be able to apply these products on these crops out here. So that Dallas Peterson, our herbicide specialist, he'll be here. He'll do about an hour-long presentation on the dicamba training. So you come to the meeting, you can get your credit for this. I know there's been several of those classes in our area that have been able to get you certified for it. And I've had a lot of people say, soybeans, well, are they on the rise? And it kind of depends. They kind of go in spurts here. When I first started, boy, we were raising some phenomenal soybeans. We could do anything, and we were getting rain. It worked. Then the drought kind of hit, and so a lot of guys took it out of their rotation. The price has been kind of intriguing. So last year we had more acres.
Intriguing by up or down?
Upward, yes,
Okay,
upward.
okay, all
Upward.
right.
So,
Okay.
So we've kind of had more and more producers asking about the soybeans. So if we had that crystal ball, if we knew if it was going to rain there in the latter part, the end of July, August time frame, we can have some phenomenal soybeans.
Yeah.
So more and more people are putting those out, Tad.
Well,
So,
and it's just supply and demand is what it is. If the price for this is up, that's what you plant.
right.
I mean, or if it's not very well, then of course you have to. So many things to consider.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And if you haven't noticed, boy, our corn supply everywhere you go, there's bunkers and bunkers of corn still.
Sure.
So it's just kind of frustrating. At least knock on wood, some of the prices have rallied a little bit here this last week. I don't know where they're at this morning, but they did look a little better at least. So hopefully we're maybe in the corner, and we'll see what happens, I guess. So.
Okay, so that's and what's the day of that?
So it is Wednesday, March 21st, again from 10 to 3. Ruth Ann Biggie is catering the meal, so Biggie's Country Kitchen. So Tad may not plant an acre of soybeans, but he may sign up just to
come
come
out
for that. So.
I'll bring a couple of soybeans with me.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, but no cost to attend. Kansas Soybean.
No cost?
Yes, the Kansas Soybean Commission are funding
Wow,
these
okay.
meetings throughout the state. We do ask that you RSVP by March 15th by calling the extension office 543-6845, or you can email myself Cody M, CODYM at ksu.edu. So again, these are on our website. If you have questions about this, give us a holler, and
Wow.
we'd certainly be glad to answer any of those for you. So.
Okay, anything else?
So the other thing, as Anna was coming on, I know said she visited with me there yesterday, and Tad wanted to know if we could come on and talk, and wanted to bring you along. And, well, what do you want to talk about? Anything. So one of the questions we are getting, Tad, and if you're out and about and you're driving around and you notice the shelter belts, the eastern red cedars or junipers is kind of not the pine trees, but the cedar trees.
Right.
Some of those are, it happens every year about this time when we start getting warmer weather. Part of those trees, you'll notice a brown tinge to them.
Okay.
So every year about this time, oh, my cedar trees are dying. What's going on? I've got some disease. What do I need to spray them with? Go out and look. And when I was first in Extension, I thought, oh my, we've got a huge epidemic going on here. And he called Jim Strine, our district forester at the time, and calm down. It's a natural process. So basically, it's just a brown coloration of junipers. They're dioecious. They have male and female. If you notice the trees with the blue berries, those are the females. Those do not have the brown tinge to them. The ones that you'll notice, the males. That's right. So basically, they have a brownish cast. When you view them from a distance. Basically, it's the male flowers getting ready to shed their pollen is what it is. And if you look at them close, the tips of them will look almost like a combination between a miniature pine cone and a hand grenade. So it's quite a combination. As you notice that, you'll go look at it.
Sure.
And it's funny, after I had been in Extension a while, and you're driving around and you can just pick those things out.
Sure.
We'll be walking and you pick those out. And later on, once they really start shedding the pollen, you'll see that if you go up to the branch and shake it, some of that pollen will disperse. So it's a natural process. Now, if we don't get any more rain for a couple of months, it may be a good idea to water some of those trees.
Sure.
But no alarm, just a natural thing that happens this time of year.
Did either of you in Extension ever do any research on the shelter belts? Did they work? I mean, did they work, the shelter belts? They're put there to break up the wind.
Correct, yeah. And I always do try to do a radio program on that.
I think they're a great idea.
They
I
are.
love
They
shelter
are.
belts.
And it's funny, for livestock feeding areas, and I don't have all those specifics, it's 10 times the height that you'll have protected. But them old cows out in the pastures, they're smart. They find those shelter belts or the protection, natural protection, and there's the NRCS, the FSA. They have several programs that you can put in place to plant shelter belts for livestock, for other aspects there, and they're a great addition. If we can just get those trees contained to the shelter belt, not like we were talking out in our pastures or where we don't want those. So.
Is that the reason why we have them out in the pastures now because of the shelter belts?
Right. It's basically, and everybody's been saying, well, why don't they come up with a tree that is better adapted for our area that we can utilize? Well, the eastern red cedar, year in, year out, that's one of our better trees on it. But yeah, those get spread. Birds, they'll eat the blueberries and they'll spread those out. But like we were talking, you can get them while they're young, or if you can do in eastern Kansas, they do a lot of controlled burns. That kind of keeps those in check and keeps your range healthy. So.
Because of the pasture, if you have a bunch of them, it uses moisture. Is
it
that
does.
the main? Is that
So
and takes
correct. It uses moisture, but then it also chokes out your grass in those areas.
Yeah.
So there's no grass under those trees there. So a lot of the people they'll go through and they'll clip off or shear out, remove those mature trees, and the grass, within a few years it fills in naturally and takes over.
I go back far enough. I remember when the shelter belts, the government program, I remember putting them in there. They weren't very big,
Right.
Of course,
And we're getting to the point where several of those shelter belts and a lot of producers are homeowners. They're starting to think forward, and they're putting a shelter belt behind the one
Sure.
that's established. So hopefully, by the time that one gets of age or old, mature enough, then the other one can be removed and so on. But yeah, there's a lot of those, and especially here last however many years when we had the drought. Jim Stein, our district forester that was stationed at Hayes, he's since retired, but there was several shelter belts, mature trees in Ness County. Those areas that really were prolonged drought that basically they just died because of that. The droughts, the first thing that comes in, and then you get the insects can sense that those trees are weakened, and they'll come in and
take care,
finish them off basically. So.
Well, to learn about shelter belts, electric.
Yep, it's not pocket gophers today. But,
Okay, anything else? And appreciate you coming on, and I'll have to check. When you mentioned like when refrigerators first came out, Frigidaire was a brand. Everyone called them Frigidaires. I mean, it was all, and that's happened. Electrolux, it was the vacuum. They said Electrolux. I mean, every vacuum kind of electric. And it's funny how things get a name like that. And you mentioned that it's synonymous with what it is, but it's not really that. It's okay, very good. Well, thank you.
Thanks for having us on, Ted.
I'll have to come to one of those. When's your next class?
Well, I haven't got one set here, but I'm going to be doing a meat canning class at Logan for the Dane G. Hansen Foundation, and so that will be coming up in first part of April,
Okay,
I believe.
all
So,
right,
but
well.
I need to get another class set up here.
Okay.
I've been too busy with the story walk. I've got to get in
That's
there,
great.
so.
I think that's and we'll have you back on and kind of
Okay.
get to what's happening on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Oh, thank you. All right. We have, okay, Nick Poles is coming next. Okay. Appreciate Nick stopping in here, and a reminder that the Tadpoll brought to you by all your friends at Farmer State Bank in Phillipsburg, where entrance begins the moment you enter the door, enters anew. Maple and Miller, it's not what you make, but what you keep. Mid-America Real Estate, providing the best homes in the area for over 40 years. Blossoms and Butterflies, making beautiful flowers a part of your life. Sign Solutions, your one-stop sign shop, and so much more. Madison Motors in business for over 70 years, and Rogers & Associates, your local trusted choice agency. They make it possible for us to talk about things. We're going to talk with Nick here about grants. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Well,
and
thanks for having me again.
We appreciate it. What the ABCs of Grant Writing Workshop? Let's talk
Yes.
about that a little bit.
Well, as you know, the Community Foundation has just invested in the East Centre, and they've done some fantastic things there, bringing new workstations
Sure.
in, and we're working with Morris at the moment to bring some valuable content to
Sure.
the community. And one of the things we discussed, the Community Foundation on a biannual basis has community development grants available.
Sure.
What we wanted to do is offer an opportunity for people to come in and learn how to write an effective grant.
Sure.
I know that the next round of funding, I believe, is between April and June
Right.
to get a grant
have
for
some-
non-profits in the
right.
community.
Yeah.
So what we've done, we've partnered up with the Management Development Center out of Fort Hayes, and we're offering a free of charge workshop. It is on Thursday, March 22nd, 9 till 4, with lunch included. And the specific purpose, or the intended purpose of this, is to get community members out and learning how to write effective grants
Sure.
to submit either to the Community Foundation or to any of our other local charitable foundations too. So.
Well, it's Phillips County is very fortunate. You can write a grant, and there's several sources. I mean,
It's very true.
good sources in Phillips County for grant writing. and to know how to do that right and everything. That's very important. I think it's a great idea here. It's at the E-Center, right?
It's at the East Centre. Yep, it's first come, first serve. We have 20 spots available for
Okay.
the 20 workstations available. And as I said, it's in conjunction with MDC out of Fort Hayes. They'll be coming up and facilitating the day for us. Really, really good, valuable training, and it's a free of charge.
Okay. Now, anyone, the organization or individual or whatever, can take this class and then help them write the grant, because there for a while, I remember when the grants first started coming out, it was kind of difficult, and you'd ask someone, "You write a grant for me." Well, you can learn to do it yourself.
Yes, yeah, anybody can write a grant.
Yeah.
If they're part of a non-profit organization or a church group or part of a government office, whether it be city, county, etc., you can write a grant on behalf of them. Individuals can come in and learn how to do that too. And a lot of foundations that you apply for grants, it has to go to a non-profit or a government agency. But there are ways around that, and people can use pass-through organizations. And in that respect, helping out and being able to provide that information to write the grant is necessary.
Anna was here. She got a grant for the story walk. So
Yes.
the things. So there's money available out there, and just to know how to write that. So someone's out there, and I'm on the committee, the community foundation, and someone will say, "Well, I didn't know I could." From cities, I don't know I could write a grant, and we'll look at it, or for wherever there.
Yeah.
And Hanson, we do a lot of ours through Hanson, and it's a way to have help with something you want to do.
Yes.
And it makes it a better place to live.
Yeah, and there is so much more direction for grant writing now. Going back a few years, everybody requested paper grants.
Sure.
Now, Hanson and the Community Foundation, uses the Greater Salina Community Foundation for an online portal. So if you want to submit a grant to the Community Foundation, you can log on and just fill in the boxes.
And it tells you what you need and everything.
Exactly.
It's really convenient to do that.
Walks you step through step.
Yeah, okay. So if someone's interested out there, you're a city or whatever nonprofit, what do they do? How do they get involved?
All they need to do is contact the PCD office. We're taking applications. As I said, it's limited to 20, first come, first serve. They can contact the PCD office on the phone, 543-5809, or they can email us at pcd@ruraltel.net, and we'll pop you on the list.
Stop in
and see us. Yeah. And I encourage everybody to not just stop and see us, but to stop in and see the E-Center, because
that's a great facility.
it's a fantastic facility, and we really need to utilize that more, because we're very fortunate to have it. So
what you do is you go in the south door, you go up the steps, and they're right there.
That's right.
You can't miss you. You're right there.
That's right.
It's a real convenience to do that. I would, me, I don't do stuff much on the internet. I usually try to get picked up in person anyway. So and what's the date on that again? The 22nd?
It's Thursday, March 22nd. Okay. It's from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. As I said, we're providing lunch as well, and it's open to 20 people.
So if you ever think an organization you belong to could need help, and nonprofit or whatever, I would really recommend you take this class. It's limited, so the first come, first served on that.
Yeah,
right? So,
and if we think, you're on the Community Foundation board, if we think about some of the grants that have gone through there over the past couple of years, we've had church groups, we've had school groups, we've had fire departments.
A lot of cities do it, fire departments.
Yeah. First Impressions Group, the City of Long Island, they got a new city park through this.
Sure,
so any interested individuals.
The school, Phillipsburg High School, has that in their shop making. A great thing.
Yeah, fantastic.
And we love giving those big checks, out there.
Exactly.
And it's a process that we sit down and go through them, and so there should more. Someone, like I mentioned a little while ago, someone will say, "Well, I didn't know I could do it. We need new playground equipment for Glade or something." Just write the grant.
Yeah, and as you said, we're very, very fortunate to live in a community that has so many grant opportunities
we have
available to us.
Good access.
So this is just one of those steps you can take to make sure you get an effective application.
Well, first come, first serve. So get it in, and whoever those you can go in the Fisher Building south door up the steps in there. But what else? Your phone number?
Yep, the phone number is 543-5809, and you can email us at pced@ruraltel.net.
Very good. Okay. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Hope
Appreciate
everyone you have a full class on that.
I'm
Okay.
sure we will.
Okay, fine. Thank you,
Thanks,
Nick.
Tad.
Nick Pohl's with us here discussing the ABCs of grant writing. It's very important. Money's available out there if you want to get some program going. Okay, we'll be talking about suicide prevention here with a couple of ladies. Rachel Russell and Mary Ledoux will be joining us. Talk about that. The Tadpoll made possible by the Phillips County Health Systems, Olive Bowman Memorial Chapel. Stephen E. Rust, your State Farm agent. Sonic Drive-In. Like us on Facebook to see the Sonic deals. Also, Phillipsburg Chamber and Main Street, where the roads are paved with opportunity. Farmers and Ranchers Outlet and J&R HVAC are making it possible again, as I mentioned, to come in on a Thursday morning and talk about things. We talked about grants, talked about extensions, some of the things going on. We'll be talking with Rachel and Mary this morning about something else. And it's suicide prevention. Would that be a good name for what you're here to talk about this morning?
Yes,
You
it
have
is.
the shirts on, okay?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Who wants to start off? What's going on?
Well, we started this project because my grandson committed suicide on January 24th.
Mm-hmm.
He was 16. On February 22nd was his 17th birthday, and we got it advertised that day for his birthday present.
Wow.
And so we want no other family to have to go through what
Sure.
we're going through.
So, what do you, I guess my question is, what are you doing? What do you, to get something going on this?
Well, we've started having meetings and having advertising it for the community
Sure.
to hopefully come and help us get it started and get it going and running and keep it going this time.
Sure. Has anything ever been tried around here on something like that? do you
Our
know?
understanding, there hasn't been anything.
Okay, so, and this is a difficult, I know a lot more difficult for you to talk about than it is for me to talk
Yes.
about, because, so what do you plan on, at your meetings, what do you do at your meetings, and do you have, like, monthly meetings, or
Yes.
how do you have this set up there?
Well, we're going to have monthly meetings, and then we're also going to set up a support group and try to meet every 2 weeks.
Okay,
We're in the process of trying to get that all set up.
support group, and this
Yes.
is someone who has had something in the family that's happened like that.
That, or if they just want to come and talk about anything, we're there, and then we can also do it one-on-one, and
Right now, our support groups, a lot of it'll be for anybody that's got suicidal tendencies, having a rough patch right now, they need someone to talk to. They're able to either talk within the group or they can talk one-on-one, everything. We stress is very highly confidential. We're not able to talk about anything. We're working with the local sheriff's department. They've been really good. If there's anybody that's, calling or anything that they are ready to do something or threatening it, we can call them, and hopefully it's nothing to pick on anyone. We're here to help them.
Sure. Okay, and someone calls in on this, and then what, they automatically contact you, or do they go, is there a system they go through? If they use a number and then.
Currently, right now, we're having them call the National Suicide Hotline number.
Okay.
Here soon, we're hoping once we get this up and going, there's some training that we're going to be taking and stuff like that, get more volunteers, more intact, and then they'll be able to call our local phone numbers, and we've got those advertised now on my cell phone and Mary's cell phone.
Okay.
We're hoping we don't get any calls, but you never know.
Sure. Okay, well, at these meetings you have, you talk about, besides the support group, but obviously something's already happened, prevention part of it, things to look for.
right.
Yep, we've got our first meeting we had here just this last Saturday over at the Senior Center. That's where all of our meetings will be handled, is at the Senior Center here on 3rd Street. And we basically show warning signs, if anybody has any warning signs, because there are warning signs. We've got people that come in that, like I said, have suicidal tendencies that are contemplating doing it. We have people that come in that are survivors, and that's either tried to commit suicide or it's a family that's survived, like we are, by someone that's committed suicide. So we're trying to just get a support group together where we're able to talk to these people that let them know that their lives do matter.
Sure.
It's not, nothing's worth suicide.
Sure. No,
Period.
And it has to be, again, from your both of your standpoints. It's usually a sudden thing, all of a sudden.
Yes, it was.
And which it has to be difficult. You can't prepare for anything like that.
No, you
obviously,
can't.
So, how's the attendance been so far? Are you?
Our first meeting, we kind of looked in the newspaper. We had it worded for any volunteers. So unfortunately, our first meeting, we had one person show up. I shouldn't say unfortunate. It's fortunate we had one person show up that came in. It's someone who wants to volunteer and help us out.
Sure.
We've had a lot of people contact us that have contemplated it. So we're trying to get them to come into the meetings, and a couple of them are scared about the confidentiality of everything.
I
And
know
we're
that,
letting them
yeah.
know confidentiality is a huge issue,
Yes.
and we're stressing it. It's got to stay confidential. Period. We can't have anything leak out, and everything's just talk between right now Mary and I. So we have a gentleman, Ashton Gebhardt. A lot of the community knows him. He does a lot of suicide speeches and walks, and he's at all of our meetings. He shows videos about suicide. He shows. He talks to a lot of people within the community. Has flyers up everywhere. So he's a huge help right now for us.
And he's helping us get started. So
Okay, sure. And it would be something. And you mentioned confidentiality is probably the big.
Yes.
I don't
Yes,
want,
it is.
I don't want anyone else knowing this
Right.
kind of thing in it, yeah.
And if they want to talk one-on-one, we can do that too.
Okay.
So nobody
Yep.
else will even hear them.
Okay, fine. Your T-shirts, you have those available?
We've got,
Or-
this is our first fundraiser, and Sign Solutions are making them for us, and they can contact Sign Solution and order their T-shirts.
Okay. Right. So your meetings, you're planning your meetings how often?
About every 2 weeks. Our next meeting right now is going to be on March 29th. I believe it's a Thursday at 6:30 in the evening. And then the next meeting will probably be on a Saturday earlier in the day. We'll know sooner.
Sure.
Yeah, our meeting right now that we're doing, it's basically anybody can show up. This one's more for, volunteers and things like that. And then the support group end of it, we'll know here soon. And we're going to try to meet every 2 weeks for that. But of course, anybody that's needing help, we do stress to go ahead and come in March 29th. And
So it's really two things. It's not only suicide prevention, it's support.
Yes.
Who's
Right.
had something like that. What do you find when you meet support? Is there in numbers? Does it help numbers? You think with the survivors? I mean, the more who have gone through this.
yeah.
Do you share?
It's actually
Is that what
shocking.
you do? You share?
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
actually shocking just within our community how many people are survivors of going through suicide alone. It's pretty alarming.
Yeah.
So
And of course, when they give cause of death, they don't. Sometimes I don't think they usually do it. I don't know whether the funeral home do that or not. You look at the area you cover. Are you doing? If someone wants to come in from another county, is that? Or is
They
that
are
just
very welcome to come.
The more the better, right?
And
to
we're
have come
hoping,
in.
once we get it started here, we can branch out and get advertised in other
Sure.
counties and
yeah.
have everybody come that wants to come. If they want to just come and listen
Mm-hmm.
or talk, we are very welcome to have them there, so.
Now, at your meetings, the support, but then is there a time in there where you talk about prevention part, or how your meetings, how do you hold your meetings? What do you do in your meetings, I guess?
Pretty much whenever we first start, it's pretty much a welcome of everyone being there. We thank you for coming. We start out, this first meeting, Mary read the obituary of Taylor. That's a big thing. I think all of our meetings will start out that way.
Mm-hmm.
We need to stress that, a lot of the young are passing away and there's no reason for it. And then we go into this last week, we said that suicide's a leading cause of death in the U.S. Every year, 1 million adults report making a suicide attempt. And then every day, approximately 105 Americans die by suicide. And right now, 1,100 students die by suicide each year. We do a lot of the statistics and things like that, and then Ashton, he'll go in with statistics that he has. He's got more up-to-date information. He brings a lot of flyers and banners and stuff in that show a lot of statistics and information, and it's kind of an eye-opener. And then he's got a lot of great information that he shows on video for everybody.
Does he do that full time? Is that a job?
He actually is a tax preparer. I believe it's
Okay.
And he farms
And he
too,
farms, so he's a very busy man.
Okay, coming around to show this.
Yep.
Had he had that in his family? Is that how he got involved?
Yes, he had.
Okay.
Yep.
That would make sense there to help you can.
We actually started this out doing Phillips County, and then we decided we'll do surrounding counties, but now it's been brought to our attention, there's absolutely nothing for suicide awareness for the whole northwest part of
Sure.
Kansas. So we're gonna try to cover all of the northwest part and hope. We've been told that Logan and Norton, apparently there's a couple of suicide support groups opening up, so we're gonna try to get in contact with those people to see what they're doing and kind of work with them and
Work
get
with
something
them and
going.
maybe figure out. Do you have any kind of guidelines that you follow that you?
Confidentiality is a must.
Yes.
Confidentiality is a huge thing, and our only thing right now is if anybody comes to the meetings and if anything's leaked out and we find out anyone has said it, they're no longer welcome at the meetings. We can't have it. We can't have them in there because we've got people in there that are at a very high critical state in their life, and we don't need to push them over the edge.
Sure. And for that standpoint, that's when you probably want a one-on-one maybe or
Right.
something.
Yes.
That's when you want a one-on-one.
Yep.
Yes.
We can one-on-one. Ashton's there to help us out with anything else, and if it's even worse, we have, we're getting a list of counselors together. High Plains has been really good with helping us out, getting things going, and they've got great services they can provide.
Yes.
So,
Okay, and when's your next meeting coming up?
March 29th at 6:30.
Okay, that's at the
Senior
Senior
Center.
Center.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else that you want to talk about this morning?
We're also gonna have a fundraiser for the citywide garage sale. We're gonna have a bake sale, so.
Okay, so
So anybody wants to come and buy, or if they like to donate, all the funding will go towards the project.
okay, I guess the funding. Everything takes money, you know.
That's right,
yeah.
it does. So we're
So
open
you
to
have a
any
fundraiser
donation.
like this, or is there you have dues or
No,
anything
no
like
dues
that?
at
No
all.
dues. We take donations. A lot of the donations
Donations.
will help pay for any training we have. There are no classes currently here close. A lot of things are in Hutchinson, Wichita, Kansas City, and these groups that go in for this training, it's a 2 to 5 day group training, and you're gone. So hotel fees, travel, things like
Sure.
that. A lot of that's going to go towards this. All of our banners, flyers, cards, we'll have wallet cards out to give to people to hand out everywhere, and all that's going to cost as well.
We had Nick, maybe talk to him about grant writing, getting a
Yep.
grant or something. That's available there.
Yep.
So that's a very important situation. So, okay, anything else?
I think that's it.
And again, I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And
Oh, I guess.
is
We're
it-
also planning to set up booths at the festivals and fairs and things like that.
okay, sure.
So if anybody anywhere around Hayes or closer or anywhere really, if they have a festival or a fun fair or something coming up and they'd like for us to be there to hand out information, we'd be more than happy to
I think that's
participate
the
in that.
important thing is
Yes.
getting the information out
Yeah.
that that's
Yes.
available. I think that probably the number one thing is
Yes.
that that's available.
And we
Information.
have taken posters with the little cards on to the high school and the middle school, and we're gonna get some to the grade school.
Okay, well, very good. Well, we hope that things really get going here, and it's amazing to have someone to come in and help you, kind of guide you on how you want to do, because it's a difficult,
Yes, it is.
very difficult. I can
And
see
High
that.
Plains Mental Health is backing us, and if we
Okay.
need, counseling us if we
Very
need
good.
help, so.
Okay, well, so we'll have you on in a couple, 3 weeks to see how things are, how your meetings are going.
Okay,
Great.
we'd
Good.
love that.
Get the information out, that's the number one thing.
That's
right, it
All right,
is.
Okay, all right, fine, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. And if someone would like one of the churches, contact Science Solutions.
Yes.
It's a fundraiser, you can help out the program. Thanks a lot for
Thanks.
Thank
coming
you.
in this morning. Rachel Russell and Mary Ledoux with us this morning, helping us with it has to be very difficult to talk about, and we do appreciate them coming in. I might also mention the Tadpoll brought to you by the First National Bank and Trust, proudly supporting Panther Athletics. For my sales floor to your delivery door, come see Jim and Terry at Olive Bowie Furniture and Appliance, where they provide gracious living for less. 59th anniversary, is it, or the 69th anniversary? 59th anniversary special prices out there. Go in, tell them Tad sent you, and Rachel. All right. Sunburst Realty LLC, where you find the best homes under the sun. Professional family eye care. See Dr. Juneman for all of your eye care needs. Coombs Trucking, you call, we haul. Wyman Firestone, tire sales and service, backing the youth of Phillips County. And Biggs Insurance for all of your auto, home, business, and farm insurance needs. Speaking of Juneman, if we get there Saturday morning, Justin Juneman is going to be our co-host. I talked with Justin the other day in Minneapolis. He said we had 8 inches of snow overnight, but he was coming down to see his his brother. Sorry about that, Justin. See his brother play basketball, and he'll be in Hutchinson if we can work it all out. I would really look forward to doing the Tadpole from down there, and again, the win and loss tomorrow night is bottom line of what happens. And again, if the Panthers would even lose, if Keith would feel all right with doing, I don't want to bother with their routine or anything. If they have a game on, they'll have a game on Saturday no matter what. But we hope it's the 6:15 one. But whatever, we'd like to redo the show from down there. So. Last week we talked about the No Hate. I thought they had a good program, and you can see it right here. You can watch it. It's about an hour long, and things to do on a No Hate situation. So I guess that's it. Saturday morning we'll be doing the again from Hutchinson. We hope we'll be doing the sports talk for you. Looking forward to that. And then a week from Saturday, some special things. Talk to some players who are still around the area who were on the team last time they went to state. One team, I think in 72 got 4th, and then 73 got 3rd, I think. I don't know. Using that memory there. The next Thursday morning on the Tadpole, I know we're going to talk about stepping up with Overmiller. Kim Overmiller will be stopping on that, and we have some other things planned. So you have a good day. Make your plans to go out and support your team if they're still a state, no matter whether Phillipsburg or Northern Valley, all the schools around here. We have a lot of representation around the state of Kansas at the tournament sites right now. So go support them. If they haven't played first round, they play today, and of course then if they win today, they'll be playing tomorrow and Saturday. We'll see you next Thursday morning here on the Tadpole. We appreciate all the sponsors making it possible, and appreciate Rachel setting us up again. You see her everywhere. I mean, she's got that camera everywhere, and getting more involved in the community and getting you involved by knowing what's going on. So we'll see you Saturday morning.